In Genesis, we learn that the unformed and chaotic universe somehow has an ear, because its first action is to listen to the voice of God. God commands light, and the cosmos hears and obeys. 6 days into the making of this listening world, God created the first humans, and their first act was to hear the blessing to populate the earth. Yet somewhere along the way, we stopped listening. We would rather speak than assume the listening posture of a servant. But I wonder, what have we missed out on by not listening? So today we declare, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening."
One of the things that scared me the most about becoming a pastor was doing pastoral care. The entire process just scared me. I mean, what were the people going to ask me? What were their questions going to be? How was I going to defend God in the midst of their pain? So the very first couple of times I went with another pastor, and man, he made it look so easy, but after visiting a few times with somebody else, it was my time to go all by myself. Now, I remember that first visit very well. It was to visit Charlene at Presbyterian Village North in Dallas, Texas. And to make matters worse, I heard that she had a reputation for being a bit difficult. So I showed up, probably looking scared to death. And she must have seen it in my eyes, because she simply took over. You see, she found out that we had a mutual friend, and she proceeded to chat my ear off for over 3 hours. But she showed me the secret to great visits: speak little and listen a lot. This is also the secret to good listening. It starts with the scandalous premise that the conversation simply isn't about you. The goal in good listening is this: keep the other person talking about themselves for as long as possible. I mean, it seems simple, yet if we're honest, everything in us wants to make the conversation about ourselves. There just seems to be some sort of gravitational pull that relentlessly wants to interject in the middle of someone else talking and turn the conversation around to where it's all about us. Yet a good listener knows that there's always more to learn about another person. There's always more to their story. And friends, your job is not to judge someone's story, but instead take their side. Try to feel and think as they do. Get a little dirty and jump down into another person's world. And you'll find that the problem with this is that most people, they don't want to share with you on a deep level what's really going on in their lives. But a good listener knows how to keep asking great questions. Keep exploring until you discover the deep angst in people's lives. And when you're in a holy conversation like that with someone else, what if your goal was to probe beneath the surface of everyday life? Go past the small talk and get into the depths of someone's soul. Now, Deborah Van Dusen writes, "There is a divine drama hidden in all of us, just crying out to be heard." Most people have deep pain in their life that I think they're longing to share with somebody. They're longing for someone to finally listen to their story. And frankly, no one should be better equipped to respond to someone's painful stories than those who wear crosses around their neck. Do you remember the story of when Lazarus died? Jesus' best friend? Well, Jesus ultimately raised him, but first, he wept. The mourners even noticed, see how he loved him? He entered into the pain with them, and then he entered the tomb. See, we often don't realize that entering into someone's pain with them is actually part of the process of someone else's healing. Friends, we have the opportunity to listen to their stories, and in listening, provide healing to the darkest parts of people's souls. But the problem with someone opening up to us is we get uncomfortable with those moments when someone else is being vulnerable with us. You see, we would rather give them some quick platitude, maybe give them a little bit of advice to get them out of the situation. We love to just shift the conversation to avoid the uncomfortable moment. But friends, it's not our job to pull people out of their storm. It's simply our job to jump in and get soaked with them. That's the beauty of the Christian church. The good news is that a Christian community is one that suffers together. We partake in one another's suffering. The church is a community of people who've always acknowledged suffering. We treat it as real, and we enter into one another's pain. Because it's in the midst of listening to others' pain that we can actually help to heal others. So the practice this week, it's short, but I can guarantee you it isn't easy. This week, try to be a good listener. And when you talk to someone, don't just ask the first question, "Hey, how are you doing?" But ask a second question as well, and get to know how they're really doing below the surface. And friends, this might be the hardest part. If they are willing to be vulnerable with you, don't try to offer them advice or give them some scripture that they should read. No, simply listen to them for as long as you can. Enter into their pain with them. And I think the truth is, you might not just be listening to them, you might be helping them heal. And what a beautiful gift that would be for someone else. Hey, thanks for listening this week. We'll see you next week.